The Harwich Mariners look to snap their three-game losing streak as they take on the Hyannis Harbor here on this lovely Thursday evening from Hyannis, Massachusetts. Live from Judy Walden Scarafile Field at McKeon Park, Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you as we cap off this two-game Western road trip for the Harwich Mariners in what is to be their 17th game of the 2022 season. Well, the Mariners have already been playing against most of their Western Division opponents to this point in the season. They are 5-5 against the West right now as it stands, and so the rest of the schedule is going to be pretty Eastern heavy. It's been a bit of a struggle for the Mariners across the first portion of the season. Devin, what do you want to see from the Mariners across the rest of the schedule here as they face off against more and more of their divisional opponents as they try to pick up ground in the East Division?
Yeah, they just got to find a way to be consistent. We've seen a lot of bursts of the positives. They've lived up to their potential at times, but been unable to string together multiple good innings. And it's either the batting or the pitching that's been on the night. They need to find a way to blend it together, play as a team, especially with all these new guys coming in. Need to find a way to play together and overcome that adversity that they're in throughout just over a quarter of the way through the season.
Let's take a moment and introduce you to the Harwich Mariners starting lineup as we get set to begin in just a few moments. Press Kavanaugh, the left fielder from UNC Greensboro, leads us off. Batting second, the right fielder, Tommy Seidel. Batting third, the shortstop, Nick Goodwin. Batting cleanup, the first baseman, Joe Vitrano. Batting fifth, the third baseman, Kenny Lavari. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Chris Newell. Batting seventh, the catcher, Tatum Levins. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, Will Hammeter. And batting ninth, the second baseman out of UConn, it's David Smith. So, Press Kavanaugh digs in now. Kavanaugh, the lefty out of UNC Greensboro. He is set to face off against Alejandro Rosario, the starting pitcher on the mound here today for the Harbor Hawks. Rosario, out of the University of Miami, 1-0 record, ERA of 2.84. This is his third appearance, first start of the season. He's pitched across 6 1/3 innings, given up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and he has struck out 8 to no walks. The first pitch is into Press Kavanaugh, a strike, and the count is 0-1. Rosario kicks and delivers the next pitch. That's going to miss up high, and the count now is 1-1. Harbor Hawks wearing their home white jerseys. You got the blue pinstripes on them, the orange numerals across the back. They say Hyannis across the front in orange as well. And then the Mariners, they're going to be wearing their road blue jerseys with the gray pants, blue socks. They've got the red batting helmets on at the moment. It's a 1-2 count to Press Kavanaugh as he fouls off the 1-2 pitch. Kavanaugh, so far on the season for the Mariners, batting 182. That's 2 of 11. He's struck out twice. He does have a double as he stands in down to the count here, 1-2. The pitch. That'll be fought off. Back to the netting here at McKeon Park, and we'll do it again at 1-2. Tommy Seidel stands on deck for Harwich. Seidel, an impressive streak he's been on. Every single game he's played in this season, he's gotten on base. But right now, it's still Press Kavanaugh who digs in. Rosario kicks and delivers. This one's going to be rifled foul down the first base line. And once again, we'll have the 1-2 pitch come in. Kavanaugh fighting a lot off here early, getting defensive, trying to lengthen this very first at-bat of the ball game.
Kavanaugh, big RBI double last night en route to a 5-run fifth inning, best offensive inning for the Mariners, but they fell up short at the end.
Ball's going to be chipped down, foul. We'll do it yet again at 1-2. And yes, 5 runs in that fifth inning. That was the most that the Mariners have scored in an inning all season long. It was really impressive the way they were able to put together the offense. But then, of course, you had the breakdown by the end of the game where in the 9th inning, Bourne was able to tack on 2 runs after loading the bases and then hitting a ground rule double. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. That's going to be spoiled off once again by Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh is battling here with Rosario early on. This next pitch set to be the 8th pitch of the at-bat already. 6 foul balls, or pardon, rather 5 from Press Kavanaugh beyond the called strike to open up the at-bat. So Kavanaugh, he is still combating the pitcher in Rosario here. Here's the pitch. That's in there for a called strike 3. Down goes Press Kavanaugh looking. Second called strike to him in the at-bat. 5 fouls. A quality at-bat to open it up, get Rosario to work. And Press Kavanaugh, as he's walking back to the dugout, and you'll see this with guys sometime, exchanging some words with Press Kavanaugh, or rather Tommy Seidel, And, I mean, you stand in there for 8 pitches, you're going to learn a thing or two about how this guy's throwing the ball, and so that's very valuable information to be able to attain. Let's take a moment, introduce you to the Hyannis starting defense, as time's going to be called very briefly. The outfield from left to right looks like this. Tito Flores is in left, Cole McConnell's in center, Philip Matulia is out in right, Mitchell Jebb is over at third base. Dominic Vitelli's at shortstop. Christian Moore is at second. Justin Hyannis is at first base. And Pancho Ruiz is going to be doing the catching here today for Rosario. Rosario stands in. It's a 1-0 count here to Tommy Seidel. First pitch missed. And so Seidel heading the count. He'll watch that one then miss outside. And it's now 2-0. That pitch coming in at 86 miles an hour to Seidel. Nick Goodwin stands on deck. Tommy Seidel had a triple yesterday, the second triple of the season, first one since the season opener back in Falmouth, back on June 12th. This one's going to come back our way over toward the protective netting. That's protecting the grandstands here on the first base side, and the count moves to 2-1.
Yeah, the only Mariner with a triple since Chase Engelhardt, who's no longer with the ball club, and the only Mariner who has a hit to every base, so a season cycle, if you will. He's got a single, double, triple, and homer.
Yeah, he has been really turning it on recently. Across his past 5 games, Seidel, what he's been able to do, batting .389. He'll watch that one miss inside, and the count now moves to 3-1. 94 miles an hour that fastball came in at. Couldn't find the strike zone. But that's 7 hits across his last 18 at-bats. He's come across the score 4 times. He's got 2 RBI, just doing a whole lot for these Mariners since he's been moved to the top of the lineup. Here's the 3-1. That'll be spoiled off. Foul over beyond the first base side, and so full count pitch coming up here. Some good at-bats from the Mariners to open up the ball game. A lot of fight from the first 2 batters.
Yeah, and Rosario, a guy who has a very low ERA, so he's going to bring it. If you can get him to throw more pitches, it's going to shorten his outing and will force a lot more pressure on the Hyannis bullpen.
As here's the pitch. That's going to be in there, called strike 3. Seidel perhaps thought he had ball 4, but that's going to be the second straight strikeout looking that's thrown by Alejandro Rosario. And so, well, Harwich has been able to put together some nice at-bats to open up the ball game. They have nothing to show for it. Rosario, 2 strikeouts to open up his outing. This brings in Nick Goodwin. Goodwin, the shortstop here today for the Mariners, batting third. He was batting leadoff for the longest time this season. Then gave up the spot to David Smith for about a game or 2 as the first pitch is in for a called strike. Before then, Press Kavanaugh came back into town and picked up his duties batting leadoff, as he did numerous times in 2021. That's going to be a swing and a miss from Goodwin, and Rosario a pitch away now from striking out the side. It's an 0-2 count to Nick Goodwin as we get underway here from Hyannis. Rosario kicks and delivers. That'll miss outside, and the count now moves to 1-2. Some other games going on tonight. Wareham at Katuitt. Orleans is at Brewster. YD is at Chatham, and Bourne is at Falmouth. As Rosario stares in now. Nods, likes the sign. Rocks and delivers. Called strike 3. 3 straight strikeouts looking to get out of the inning for Alejandro Rosario. He strikes out the side. Nothing but the Mariners can do but look at the pitches as they cross over home plate. We'll be back with more Harwich Mariners baseball in a moment. In the meantime, don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back inside McKeon Park. Tim Foley, Devin Dobick along with you as we get set for the bottom of the first inning. It's going to be the Hyannis Harbor Hawks up to bat. Let's introduce you to their starting lineup now. Batting leadoff, the third baseman, Mitchell Jebb. Batting second, the left fielder, Tito Flores. Batting third, the first baseman, Justin Hyannis. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Nolan Shanuel. Batting fifth, the center fielder, Cole McConnell. Batting sixth, the second baseman, Christian Moore. Batting seventh, the catcher, Pancho Ruiz. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Dominic Patelli. And batting ninth, the right fielder, Philip Matulia. And so we're back to Mitch Jebb, who steps in now. Jebb so far on the season for the Harbor Hawks. He's batting .297, 11 of 37. He's got 2 doubles, a triple, 3 RBI rather, 8 strikeouts to 5 walks, and the big number for him, he leads the Harbor Hawks in stolen bases at 7. So when he does get on, he is a threat. But it's going to be a first pitch strike from the man they call Eric Raiselman on the mound here today out of LSU, a returning Mariner, making his debut here for the first time in 2022 as the next pitch comes in at 94 miles an hour. It's now an 0-2 count. Raiselman stares in. Holds the glove about waist height, kicks and delivers. That's going to be punched right back up the middle. That'll be stopped by Goodwin. Throw on to first is low, and they're able to get him. Joe Vitrano. No, actually, they call it safe as able to leg that one out. Mitchell Jebb. Some good speed as he headed down to that first base bag. And so this now brings up Tito Flores. We mentioned it, Jebb, 7 stolen bases, so not all too much of a surprise. He was able to beat out that throw. As this now brings up Tito Flores, the left fielder, here for Hyannis. Raiselman stares in. Again, this is the first appearance for Raiselman this season. Raiselman, a Mariner last year, as he looks in. Delivers the first pitch, that'll miss up high to Flores. Raiselman across his 6 games played last season for the Mariners. 2-0 record, .293 ERA. He started 5 games, came out of the bullpen and won. Across his 27 2/3 innings, he pitched and threw 38 strikeouts to just 8 walks. As he stares in now and delivers. That'll be hit once again, right back up the middle, and that's going to get all the way through this time. That'll move everybody up a base. Mitchell Jebb heads down to second as Tito Flores pulls up now to first.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Came into today against Harwich. In 2 games, he was 3 for 6 with a bomb at White House Field. Now he becomes 4 for 7, the hottest batter against the Mariners in the lineup.
So this now brings up Justin Hyannis. Hyannis on the season so far for Hyannis. He's batting .260. That's 13 of 50. Does have 14 strikeouts. That's tied for the team high. First pitch is going to be pushed out to left field by Hyannis. Catch will be made by Kavanaugh. No chance for anybody to tag up. And so there's now 1 away. Let's introduce you to the Harwich starting defense. Out in left field, Press Kavanaugh. Chris Newell's in center. Tommy Seidel's out in right. The infield from left to right, Kenny Lavari at third, Nick Goodwin at shortstop. David Smith is at second base. Joe Vitrano's over at first. Tatum Levins is going to be doing the catching here today for Eric Raiselman.
And Raiselman, something interesting about him, he made 29 appearances for LSU in 2022. None of them was a start, but his first outing as a Mariner is one this season.
As that's going to be in for a strike. First pitch strike from Eric Raiselman. Expect that a lot from him. He's a high-volume strikeout guy. This past season at LSU, as mentioned, out of the bullpen every single outing. 66 strikeouts to 18 walks, and that's across 42 in a 3rd innings pitched. That ball's going to be chopped off. Foul. It's now 0-2. Raiselman a pitch away, looking for his first strikeout here with the Mariners in 2022, as he has Shanuel down in the count. Shanuel on the season for Hyannis, .222 with 10 strikeouts. It's 12 of 54 hitting. The 0-2 count. Raiselman stares back at Jebb. And the 0-2 misses outside. Something interesting about Raiselman and his time over at LSU. As mentioned, pitched the 42 1/3 innings. And he is a fastball kind of guy. His fastball is electric when he is able to get that thing on, and often it is. He threw the fastball 94% of the time at LSU. He was really a one-pitch guy over there. As that pitch comes in, misses outside. It's a 2-2 count now, 94 miles an hour that one came in at. He has hit triple digits before. Eric Raiselman, not the largest guy, 6'2". He's got a good frame to him. But to be able to reach 100, he's really able to just crank it in there when he needs to. The San Ramon, California native just turned 21 the other day. That was back on Monday, I believe. Yes, the 27th. As a 2-2 pitch misses down low, and the count now runs full here. Just turned 21 years of age, Raiselman.
And he attended De La Salle High School out in California, which, if you may remember, the movie When the Game Stands Tall, featuring the football team, they had 151 straight victories.
As Raiselman stares back at second, comes home with the 3-2 and misses up high. 94 miles an hour on the fastball, but he couldn't find the strike zone with it, and so that will load the bases. Down to third is Mitch Jebb. Tito Flores heads up to second, and Shanuel's over on first now. Cole McConnell, the center fielder, comes up to bat. McConnell this season for Hyannis out of Louisiana Tech, batting .302, 13 of 43. He's come across the score 4 times. He does have 14 strikeouts, tied for the team lead. But right now, Raiselman has not been able to strike anybody out. 3 out of the first 4 he's faced have gotten on. It's a first pitch strike from Raiselman, 95 miles an hour this time, as the count opens at 0-1.
And his whip was just 119 at LSU, so to see 3 base runners on early here is kind of shocking.
This is a Hyannis team that has been playing some excellent baseball recently, as that's going to be swung on and missed. Count now 0-2. Hyannis on a 7-game undefeated streak, have not lost since, I want to say, the doubleheader perhaps against the Mariners. That may not be true, but it's been a while coming for Hyannis. So it's just been impressive what they've been able to do across the league, as they currently find themselves second in the West with 19 points. Broken bat, that's going to be hit right back up the middle. Nick Goodwin is able to grab the ball, but he does not tag second, so everybody's going to be safe. There were some antics going on, if you will. I'm not quite sure what to call it, as Cole McConnell had swung the bat, hit the ball, and about 80% of the bat broke off. He held on to the end of the bat where he was holding the grip, but the barrel of it flew over the fencing here at McKeon Park, and the ball was hit up the middle. Goodwin stopped it, but he couldn't keep a foot on second to at least get Shanuel. And so Mitchell Jebb comes home to score. Up to third now is Tito Flores. Second base is Shanuel, safe, and Cole McConnell is able to reach safely. That is now 3 singles here in the first inning for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Swing and a miss on this pitch from Christian Moore, the second baseman for Hyannis, and the count is quickly 0-1.
And he had 2 strikes on Shanuel. It was 0-2. He had 2 strikes on McConnell, just unable to finish them off.
So it's an 0-1 count here. 2 more. The pitch. That's going to miss up high. And it's now 1-1. Eric Raiselman looking to get drafted in this year's MLB draft. Plenty of scouts in attendance here today, I'll tell you that much. We're going to be keeping an eye on that velo, on his location, everything that you could ever want in a pitcher. Here's a 1-1 pitch. That's going to miss outside, supposedly, and it's now 2-1. Raiselman really looking to work on some of his off-speed stuff. That's what he just offered just then. Couldn't find the zone with it. Again, we mentioned it, about 19 out of every 20 pitches he threw at LSU were in for fastballs. It's a 2-1 pitch. That's going to miss down low, and the count now 3-1 here to Moore. Raiselman is struggling a bit here early on. He's given up the 3 hits and the 1 walk. He's only recorded the 1 out. And that was on a loud piece of contact out to left field. Raiselman stares in, bounces that left foot. Kicks and delivers. Swing and a miss, and the count runs full here, 3-2. 92 miles an hour on that fastball. He was able to blow it by Moore.
And bad news for Harwich is coming into today, opponents are hitting .346 with the bases loaded against them. We already saw an infield single with them loaded, so 1 hit and counting here with them all chucked.
Raiselman the 3-2. That's going to be hit out toward right field. Going back is Seidel. Holding a foot on the bag at third is Flores. He'll tag up. Throws into second. And advancing to third is Shanuel. Coming home is Flores. It's now 2-0 Hyannis in the bottom of the first inning. Sac fly from Christian Moore is able to help bring in a run. And just like that, Hyannis, they are in the driver's seat. Now the 7th batter of the inning set to come up to bat here for Hyannis. It's been a busy first inning here for Eric Raiselman, to say the least. As Raiselman stares in. Holds the glove about chest height and delivers. That's going to miss outside, and the count is 1-0.
Raiselman already above 20 pitches. He's at 23 coming up here.
And we saw Harwich put together a few good at-bats to try to work the pitch count for Rosario, but even still, he was able to strike out the side. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That'll be swung on and missed. And so the count now 1-1 here to the batter in Pancho Ruiz. Ruiz on the season for Hyannis so far. Batting 179. That is good for 5 of 28 across his 9 games played this season. Struck out 5 times. It's a 1-1 count to him here. Runner goes. That'll be hit right at the shortstop in Goodwin, and that's going to end the inning. The Harbor Hawks are able to scratch 2 across thanks to 3 singles in the bottom of the first inning. Harwich already down 2-0 here against the Harbor Hawks. We'll be back on the other side with more Harwich Mariners baseball. In the meantime, don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back inside McKeon Park. Tim Foley, Devin Dobick along with you as we head now to the top of the second inning. It will be Joe Vitrano who comes up to bat now, the cleanup hitter here for the Mariners, coming on to lead off the second inning. Kavanaugh, Seidel, and Goodwin each went down looking back to open the ball game as Alejandro Rosario was dealing early for the Harbor Hawks. He kicks and delivers, and the first pitch is in for a called strike. 0-1 here to Vitrano. Vitrano on the season here for Harwich, batting 196, 9 of 46. He's struck out 11 times. He's got 8 RBI as well. That's good for second on the team, right behind Nick Goodwin at 12. It's now an 0-2 count to Vitrano as the next pitch comes in. And so, Vitrano back against the wall, and Rosario a pitch away from recording 4 strikeouts to open up the ball game. He'll kick and deliver. And that's going to sail well high of the glove of Ruiz, and so the count is now 1-2.
Vitrano did have an RBI single in the loss to Bourne last night. Nice piece of opposite field hitting in between third and short. Scored a run en route to a big 5th inning.
As this ball's hit on the ground right side, that'll be stopped by Hyannis. Throw over to first is going to miss the glove of Alejandro Rosario, who was covering, and so Joe Vitrano is going to be safe on first to open up the top of the second inning.
Much needed break for Harwich. Hopefully they can capitalize. They have the leadoff runner on. They're going to credit Vitrano with a hit here.
And so Vitrano on first base. As for Vitrano now, you can make that 4 straight games with a base hit as Kenny Lavari steps in now. Lavari, he has been excellent for Harwich so far this season. He is the only Mariner to reach base safely in every game he's played in. I believe I said Seidel had earlier. Seidel's streak ended a couple of games ago against YD. Nonetheless, even still, Seidel's gotten on every other game beyond that one. But now here we have Lavari. All 12 games he's played in, he's gotten on. And these past 7 games on a 7-game hitting streak as well. So he's not just getting on with walks, errors, hit by pitch, what have you. He has been able to actually put a bat on the ball. Starting to line it out nicely here for Harwich. So far his numbers on the season look like this out of Old Dominion. Batting .286, 10 of 35. He is second on the team in strikeouts with 14. It is a 1-2 count to him here.
But that batting average is a team high at .286. He was tied with Seidel, who's already punched out tonight. Also leads the team in OBP at .390. He's walked 5 times.
It's a 1-2 count to Lavari. Rosario stares over at Vitrano on first, looks home, and delivers. And that's going to be a ball. Not quite sure where, but at 93 miles an hour, it's now a 2-2 count. So the at-bat stays alive for Kenny Lavari as he has Chris Newell on deck right behind him. It'd be a great spot to get in if you're Harwich. 2 on for Chris Newell. As the 2-2 comes in, that'll be popped up by Lavari left side. Playable, coming in to make the catch. Tito Flores underneath it, makes the grab, and there's one away.
Just under at that time. He's had his fair share of opposite field hits, but unable to catch up to that one. Probably should have been an out, as you mentioned. That second ball looked very much to be in the top of the zone. So I guess the baseball gods were not agreeing with the extended at-bat, and he pops out.
Ball don't lie, as they say. Chris Newell steps in now, the lefty out of Virginia. Rosario now 1 out in the inning against the Mariners with Vitrano still on first, delivers the first pitch, and it's going to be swung on and missed by Newell. The count opens at 0-1. Chris Newell on the season out of Newtown Square. He is batting .222, 2 for 9 across his 3 games played. Has come across the score once. He hit a home run back in the doubleheader against Wareham. His first game back, or his first day back, as that one's going to be hit through the right side. That's going to be a base hit. Joe Vitrano is going to be over at second base, thought about rounding for third, and decided against it ultimately. Pulls back to second, and so it is a 1-out single for Chris Newell to help advance Joe Vitrano, and the tying run is now on second.
And
First, excuse me.
Sounded like Coach Tebow wanted him. He was yelling, "Here, here." Vitrano must have missed the signal or not had confidence in himself.
And it looked like Vitrano got down a second pretty quickly. I'm surprised he wasn't thinking third on that.
Big turn. He took a big turn, got about a third of the way there, and then had other ideas.
As Tatum Levens, the catcher out of Pitt, stands in now. Levens batting .130 on the season, 3 of 23. Chops this ball on the ground. That'll head off right side. Foul, and the count is 0-1. It's been a struggle at times to make contact for Levens. Had a hit last against Orleans back on June 25th, and before that, it was 9 days before then against YD back at home, the 2-1 win over the Red Sox, and so it has not been the greatest season offensively here for Tatum Levens. as it's an 0-1 count to him here. That'll be hit right side. Two-hopper right into the glove of Hyannis. He will step on the first base bag and record the second out of the inning. But that does move Joe Vitrano now down to third and Chris Newell up to second. But then it gets you thinking that you had a chance perhaps to bring in the run in Vitrano, although you wonder, of course, Hyannis could have opted to maybe try to keep Vitrano pinned over at third. You never know. It's all hypothetical, but at the same time, you're just now getting the lead runner over to third as Will Haminer makes his Harwich Mariners debut, a former YD Red Sox, as he stands in as Rosario stares him down. First pitch is going to be in for a strike to Haminer.
From Alabama, so a teammate with Matt Gazzetti, who just announced his transfer there, and also Tommy Seidel.
Yeah, the Tide is well represented here in Harwich, as it's an 0-1 count to Haminer. Stares in and delivers. That's going to miss high and inside. It's now 1-1, 92 miles an hour that one came in at. Haminer with YD earlier this season. Played in 10 games for the Red Sox. Batted 136. That's just 3 for 22. Did have 2 RBI, came across the score once. Struck out 8 times to his 2 walks. It's a 1-1 count to him. That one's going to be hit on the ground. 2 hops over to Christian Moore. He'll throw it on to first in time, and the inning ends. So, the Harwich Mariners get 2 into scoring position, but they leave them stranded. We'll be back with the bottom of the second inning and the Hyannis Harbor Hawk bats in just a moment. In the meantime, don't go too far. You are listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. We bring you back to McKeon Park here in downtown Hyannis. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you as the Harwich Mariners currently in a 2-0 hold of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Up to bat now to lead off the inning for Hyannis. I believe it's already going to be a pinch hitter here for the Harbor Hawks. And it looks like it's going to be number 5. Do not see them on their official roster, so we'll have to do some investigative reporting very quickly. But in the meantime, Eric Raiselman is back out. It is his second inning of work. He is behind in the count, 1-0. Oh, it is Dominic Patelli. He's just wearing the number 5 now for one reason or another. Decided perhaps a uniform change was in order. Patelli, perhaps this is why, batting 167 on the season, 6 of 36. As it's a 2-1 count here to him. The 1-1 missed, and so at 93 miles an hour couldn't find the strike zone. Patelli out of the University of Miami has 5 walks on the season, and he's a pitch away from drawing another one as the 2-1 misses, and it's now 3-1.
He does have a home run on the season with 4 RBIs.
As the 3-1 comes in, that's going to be sent out to center field. Chris Newell doubles back, settles underneath it, and makes the catch, 1 away.
Nice first out there for Raiselman. They had the leadoff runner on in Mitch Jebb. They had 2 straight hits, so to get that first out, kind of settle in against the bottom of the order, it's got to feel good.
It's now going to be Philip Matulia up to bat out of Louisiana Tech, batting 160, 4 of 25, 4 RBI, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts to his name so far on the season. As Raiselman kicks and delivers, that's going to be scorched through the right side on the first pitch he sees. That's going to get all the way back to Seidel and right, and Matulia is able to get on first safely with a one-out single.
That hole between first and second has had about 3 hits go through there already between the 2 ball clubs. Bit of a hot zone.
As we are back to the top of the order with Mitch Jebb. Jebb singled and was the first run to come around for Hyannis back in the bottom of the first inning. First of 2 runs to come across as Raiselman stares in, looks down Jebb, and delivers. That's going to miss high, and the count is now 1-0 to open it up here. 95 miles an hour that pitch was able to touch for Raiselman. Harwich has a pitching staff, an ERA of 4.18. That is 9th in the Cape Cod Baseball League, as this one's going to be hit back up the middle, picked up by Goodwin, tag second, throwing to first for 2. They got him. That's the end of the inning. It's a 6-3 double play. Nick Goodwin fields the ball, steps on second for 1, and throws on to first for 2. We head to the top of the 3rd inning. Harwich Mariners back up to bat when we return. In the meantime, don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Fans, be sure to buy your
David Smith leads us off in the top of the 3rd inning. Mariners still down by 2. Back on the mound, Alejandro Rosario. It is now his 3rd inning of work. A quick first, struck out the side, all looking, and then allowed 2 hits in the second, but nothing ended up coming of it as the Mariners left Joe Vitrano stranded on 3rd and Chris Newell stranded over on 2nd. So as mentioned, it's David Smith up to bat, as the first 2 pitches each miss for balls, and it's a 2-0 count. Smith on the season so far, batting just 67%, 0.67, as the 2-0 is going to miss inside, and so the count now runs to 3-0.
He stayed in the lineup for Coach Engler because of his defense. Really likes him at second base. Subbed him in last night for Graham Polly in the 9th inning at defense.
3-0 is going to miss outside. It's a 4-pitch walk to David Smith, so he's able to get on base, Smith. And the Mariners have the leadoff man on for now the 2nd straight inning. Smith, for him, that's his first walk of the season. And so this will set up the top of the order nicely. Press Kavanaugh comes up to bat now. Kavanaugh struck out looking back in the 1st inning, opened up the ball game, striking out looking. Put together a nice at-bat, however. Fouled off, I believe, 5 pitches from Alejandro Rosario. So he's going to look this time around to try to do some damage as the first pitch is in for a called strike, and Kavanaugh behind in the count, 0-1.
And the leadoff walk for Smith is so huge. Harwich, a team that does not like to be patient and watch pitches. They are the lowest walking team in the league with 42.
Next pitch is going to miss, and so the count is now 1-1. But yes, they do struggle to be able to draw the walk. As pitch comes in, and that's going to be in for a called strike now, 1-2. Kavanaugh, a pitch away from striking out for the second time today. Tommy Seidel stands on deck. He's hoping he'll come up to bat with 2 on and nobody away. Here's the 1-2. That'll be hit on the ground. That'll stay foul. And Kavanaugh doing what he does best in these spots, staying defensive when he's down in the count, waiting for his pitch, trying to find a good spot to be able to take an easy take or perhaps get a hold of one that he likes. As the count here is 1-2 to Kavanaugh. The pitch. Again, fouled off by Kavanaugh. That'll bounce at the dirt right about his feet as Ruiz comes over to snare it. It's now 1-2.
Had a chance to talk with Press pregame, and he's really happy to be back on the Cape. He had such great success, hit .333, second highest average in the league last season, and he said it felt like it went by so fast, so he gets here late trying to take it all in every moment.
1-2 pitch fouled off, and at 82 miles an hour, we'll do it again at 1-2. And yes, Kavanaugh, as you said, second highest batting average in the league last season, second only to Clark Elliott of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, who ultimately came away with the batting title. Batted .333 last season, Kavanaugh. As this pitch is going to be spoiled off. Once again, Kavanaugh putting together another lengthy at-bat here. And will once again at 1-2 deliver the next pitch.
He got 8 pitches in inning number 1, and now he gets 8 here. So 16 pitches at least and counting against Rosario. Really doing his part out of the leadoff spot, making him throw.
Rosario nods, comes set, stares in, and delivers. That's going to miss high. Runner goes for second, and Smith, throw down to the bag, gets away. That'll skip into center field. Backed up by Cole McConnell, and so down to second base safely is David Smith.
A little bit of a late jump, but a bad throw helps out Smith, as they're unable to come up with it in Christian Moore. And so now you got a runner in scoring position with no outs. You're down 2. This is where Harwich has to be better. Capitalize on the opportunities you are given.
First stolen base of the season for Smith, by the way, as the 2-2 comes in, foul tip down in the dirt, throw on to first from Ruiz, and that's going to be the first out of the inning. Still at second is David Smith as Tommy Seidel comes up to bat. 4 strikeouts on the day now for Alejandro Rosario, as he continues to silence this top portion of the Mariners lineup. We'll see what Seidel has to say about it. But the Mariners allowing the first run of the ball game, something they have done extremely often so far this season. 12 times out of the 16 games played, make it now 13 out of 17. The Harwich Mariners have conceded the first run of the ball game. They are 4-8 in such instances. And the thing to keep in mind, too, is that Harwich, across their first 3 wins of the season, I believe, they were all in comeback fashion, and so they were 3-1 in that instance to open up the season. But it's really just been brutal for Harwich whenever they go down. Seldom have they come back to regain the lead and win the ball game. As the pitch comes in, it misses down low in the dirt, and so it's now a 1-1 count here to Seidel.
Yeah, on a really bad stretch. Lost 9 of their last 12. They sit in 4th place in the East, just above Chatham by 2 points, which is a game. Got to find a way to move up in the ranks. You're 8 points out of first. Plenty of season left. Now you just got to put together a few wins.
Chatham on a 2-game losing streak to the Mariners' 3-game losing streak, as the 1-1 is going to miss, and it's now a 2-1 count here to Seidel. East standings look like this as a whole. YD is atop the table with 20 points. Brewster in second at 18 points. They're on a 4-game winning streak, the Whitecaps. Mariners will face off against them in a home-and-home this weekend for the 3rd and 4th of July. And then Orleans over at 3rd place in the division with 16. Here's the 2-1 hit on the ground, left side, foul. We'll do it again at 2-2. And then, of course, Harwich at 12 points in 4th. Chatham in 5th place at 10 points. West looks like this. Katuitt still looking good. 12-2-2, 26 points. They are 3.5 games ahead of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks at 19 points. Both those two teams on a 2-game winning streak. Bourne, 15 points. Picked up 2 last night against the Mariners. They are in 3rd in the West, and then Wareham's in 4th at 13 points, and Falmouth in 5th in the West at 11 points. 5-10-1 are the Commodores. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Down goes Seidel. Second time today he struck out, and that's now 5 strikeouts to this top third of the lineup for Alejandro Rosario. It's been impressive. He got them all to go down looking the first time around, and now he's getting them all to go down swinging here in the top of the 3rd inning as Nick Goodwin comes up to bat now. Also struck out looking back in the 1st inning. Mariners right now, record currently sitting at 6-10-1. That is the worst start for the organization since 2017 as the first pitch is in for a called strike to Nick Goodwin. That's when they opened the season at 5. I believe they were 5-10-1 across their first 16 games played. Ended up finishing 5th in the East that season. A record of 15-28-1 at 31 points. The second fewest points that a team coached by Steve Engler has had across his now 19 seasons. Fewest was back in 2007 when the Mariners only managed to record 30 points. It's an 0-1 count here to Nick Goodwin as he called time briefly. Steps back in. Rosario stares towards second, looks home. Second once again, and the pitch. And that's going to brush him off home plate. The count now 1-1.
It's just been a slow start, but it's the Cape League season. It's not how you get in, it's if you get in. And if there's 8 teams making the playoffs this time, all you got to do is keep your head above water, be a top 4 team in the East, and then show up when it's postseason.
And that's what the Harwich Mariners did back in 2019 when they made a run to the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship Series, as Nick Goodwin's going to pull this one out to left field. That will be caught by the left fielder Flores, and the inning will end. We'll talk a bit more about that on the other side. But in the meantime, the Mariners were able to get David Smith on with the leadoff walk. He was then able to make it down to second on a stolen base, but he is stranded there. So we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Harbor Hawks due up when we return. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. We welcome you back inside McKeon Park. Tim Foley, Devin Dobick along with you. A 2-0 lead for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. A lead that they were able to pick up in the bottom of the 1st inning after they were able to jump Eric Razelman 4 out of the first 5 batters got on base. Mitchell Jebb and Tito Flores, who stands in now, each came around to score after leading off the inning with a single each. As the first pitch from Raiselman misses up high at 94 miles an hour, and Flores is going to take a moment. That cannot be a comfortable feeling, watching that pitch come in high and tight at 94 miles an hour. So Flores taking a breather here. And he'll step back in now.
Highest average in the order, hitting .340, ball club high.
Raiselman, the 1-0. That'll be fought back. That's heading back toward the press box. That's going to drop, heads back toward the field here. Behind the Timmy the Voice Elstrom announcer's booth at McKeon Park. And the count is 1-1. Hyannis having a much better season this year than last. It was not a great showing for the Harbor Hawks last year as Raiselman stares in. It is a 1-1 count. And that one's going to miss for a ball, now 2-1. Well, we mentioned Hyannis this year, currently at 8-5-3, second in the West. But when you look at last year, what they were at in the West Division, 8-28-0, already matching their win total from last season. So this whole organization has to be happy about that. As a swing and a miss at a 92-mile-an-hour pitch from Raiselman pushes the count to 2-2. Raiselman, he is still looking for his first strikeout of the ball game. Did face the minimum back in the second. Philip Matulia got on with a single, but then a ground out over to short, in which Goodwin was able to convert on a double play. Ended the inning. This ball's going to be flied out to center field. Chris Newell's underneath it, and he makes the catch. And so there's one away now here in the bottom of the third.
Get that leadoff runner out. That's what he's done now, starting to settle in. It was a rocky start, as you mentioned, Tim, but starting to settle in now. He's retired a makeshift 6 batters in a row thanks to a double play in the last inning, but just moving through the order one at a time.
Here's the pitch from Raiselman. This one's going to be flied out to center field as well. And so on back-to-back pitches, flyouts to center field. Chris Newell makes the catch, and there's 2 away. This brings up Nolan Shanuel, as Justin Hyannis, the one who just flew out to center field. Shanuel got on with a walk back in the first inning, got as far as third base, but ultimately did not come around to score as he was stranded there. Raiselman looking for a clean inning here. The pitch. That's fought off, and the count is 0-1.
Shanuel really starting to pick it up. Had a slow start, but now he's up to 12 for 54. That's 222, and he's got 4 RBIs.
And we're starting to reach that point in the season as the 0-1 misses up high, 1-1, where the bats do start to come along. We saw it earlier in the season. I believe it was about 6 teams at one point in time were all batting under 200. As this one's hit on the ground over to Lavari, throw on to first is in time, and Joe Vitrano is able to pick that one out. So the inning ends. Down go the Harbor Hawks. 1, 2, 3. 2 flyouts to center, a ground out to third, and that's the inning. We head now to the top of the 4th. Mariners back up to bat in a minute. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back to McKeon Park. Top of the 4th inning. Mariners down 2-0. For play-by-play duties for the next 3 innings of play, my broadcast partner, Devin Dobik. Devin.
Thank you, Tim. They trail by 2 here as we get to the middle third of the ball game. Joe Vetrano, he's 1 for 1 on the day. He climbs in and watches ball 1. Alejandro Rosario back out there for his 4th inning of work thus far. He's thrown 57 pitches and no runs with just 2 hits. Big cut from Vetrano there, and count is 1-1.
It's been a decent clip for him. He's working pretty efficiently. Had a bit of a busy second, but otherwise 5 strikeouts, and he has looked good for Hyannis.
Here comes the 1-1 offering. Vetrano right through that one, takes him down to a knee, and he's now down in the count 1-2. Due up in the inning for the Mariners is Vetrano, Lavari, and Newell. Vetrano was stranded at third, back in the second. Trying to get on in the leadoff spot again. He rips this one out into the gap in left center field. That is going to fall off the wall. Vetrano into second, standing up. He's got a leadoff double, his 2nd hit of the ball game, and the Mariners get something going here in the 4th.
Yeah, how about it for Joe Vetrano? 2nd straight at-bat for him in which he's led off an inning, and the 2nd straight at-bat in which he has gotten at least to second base, doing a nice job to try to set the table here for Harwich in a spot where they need to be able to put up runs and come back sooner rather than later. Again, the longer you let a lead sort of linger, the more impossible it feels to be able to surmount it.
And that was the 3rd time Mariners have had a leadoff runner on. They had the leadoff runner and David Smith on in the 3rd inning. Had him on second with no outs, but were unable to move him from that spot at all. Strike 1 in there to Kenny Lavar. Yeah, it was back-to-back strikeouts and a fly out to left. He was stranded. Mariners with 3 hits, Harbor Hawks with 4. Lavari, the only player to reach base in every game, back in the left-hand side. And the pitch to him. Foul tipped, and it'll be quickly 0-2.
And this is just the 2nd multi-hit game for Joe Vetrano on the season. Last time it happened was during the season opener against Falmouth back on June 12th. Had 2 hits that day against the Commodores. And his first extra base hit as well since facing off against Katuitt when he had that home run against the Kettleers to help put Harwich ahead.
0-2 offering is chopped foul down the first base side. Lavari stays alive. He'll have another crack at Rosario. No errors for either ball club early on.
There has been some interesting plays, though, made.
Yeah, there's been a few. Nick Goodwin, of course, missed the second base bag. We saw an almost error from Christian Moore on a bobble, but he was able to record the out. Bailed himself out there. Lavari got to protect. And the pitch. Misses up and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
94 miles an hour. Both these pitchers here today throwing with some serious velocity.
Yeah, they are bringing it. Rosario from the University of Miami. Teammate of Gage Zeal, a couple of right-handers for the Hurricanes. And 1-2. Lavari lifts it out to deep left field. There goes Tito Flores back, and he's got it. Vetrano tagging up, thought about it, but he retreats back to second, so nothing doing there. Lavari flies out to left for the 2nd time tonight, and there's 1 away.
Yeah, you want to try to salvage something out of a fly ball out to left field if you're Vetrano, as he tried to tag up, thought about it, but a good throw made from Flores out in left is not going to make that possible. So that's the 2nd straight time Lavari's flown out to left.
Newell, the only other Mariner with a hit, he digs in here. Hitting .300 on the early season. Hit .258 for Virginia this past season. Last year, when he was a Mariner in 2021, he had 5 homers in 19 games he played in, behind just Brock Wilkin, who had 6 throughout the course of the season. So a power threat, he's got one here already. And trying to make his impact. Very solid in center field as well. 0-1. Upstairs, and count is evened up. Earned the nickname Gel by Coach Steve Englert. Guy who definitely has a hair routine.
Coach Englert, infamous for his nicknames on the lineup cards.
1-1 is popped out to left. Flores charging in, and he's under it, puts it away. So back-to-back flyouts to left, and no movement from Joe Vitrano at second. Mariners not finding ways to move him over. Tatum Levens, the last life here in the fourth.
Yeah, that has to be frustrating for Harwich. Not even a ball on the ground that Vitrano can run on. It's been two easy flyouts over to left, and easy outs recorded by Flores, who's easily able to keep Vitrano pinned at second.
Will Hammiter on deck. Levens the catcher. He's been platooning with Matt Gussetti. Kyle Teal did the majority of the catching before he left, as first pitch is in there for a strike. And Team USA's baseball Instagram has been covering a lot of the Mariners. We've seen a lot of shots of Teal, Wilkin, all the guys out there representing the country.
6 of them gone out there.
0-1. Breaking ball is fouled off. Got a piece of the home plate umpire. He's going to need a minute. Pancho Ruiz will head out to the pitcher to buy him some time. He appears to be okay. Just a bit of a sting there. Levens will check in on him. He's usually the guy that's protecting him behind the plate.
That's a relationship you don't want to sour if you're Tatum Levens.
Definitely a good way to put it. He's in the hole, 0-2. Ruiz trying to exit the inning despite the Mariners threatening with a leadoff runner on second in back-to-back innings. He has done a great job of shredding them thus far. His whip is currently just above 1. He's allowed 3 hits and a walk in this ball game. That one misses up and away. Tatum Levens hangs in there. He's grounded out to first already today. He's been rolling over a bunch of pitches here throughout the season. Still trying to find his way under them. That one in there on the inside corner. No, home plate umpire. Half the infield was sprinting in. He had other plans, so maybe Tatum Levens did himself a favor. The umpire might have missed that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs with a runner on second and Joe Vitrano. And number 2 up with Tatum Levens. A lot of deuces out there. Also plays catcher, number 2. And it's fouled off to the left over by the Hyannis bullpen. Jumps out of play. It'll draw an army of children over to get it. So he's spoiling pitches, keeping this at bat alive. This will be the 6th pitch of the AB.
And he's got to find some kind of way to get into a rhythm here for Harwich. He's batting less than half what he had last year. 262 last season for the Mariners, 130 right now.
And he chops this one over to second. It's fielded by Christian Moore. He fires onto first with ease. Levin's going to run halfway down the outfield, not pleased with himself. That will end the inning. We head to the home half of the 4th. Back out there is going to be Raiselman. We'll take a quick break on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back, Devin Dobek, Tim Foley. We'll take you around the Cape Cod Baseball League quickly. Wareham and Cotuit tied at 5-5 out in Cotuit in the bottom of the 7th. Orleans on top of Brewster out at Stony Brook Park, 5-4 in the 6th. Chatham and YD just started 0-0 at Veterans Field, and Bourne and Falmouth also just getting underway. That's at Arnie Allen Diamond. That's 0-0. First pitch to the batter, and Cole McConnell is in there for a strike. Raiselman back out there. He's really started to settle in here. 8 straight have gone down. And the 0-1 is lifted out to center. Barely moving is Chris Newell. He's been busy. Center fielder flies out to the center fielder to start off the 4th inning.
As Christian Moore comes up, had a chance to catch up with Raiselman the other day as he got back into town earlier this week. And it's funny, talking to him this year compared to last year, I noticed a bit more of a southern accent on him. Of course, he's been spending a lot of time in Baton Rouge, and as the first pitch comes in, misses outside at 1-0. That's actually a point of contention for him, because when he's down there in Baton Rouge, of course he's a California native, and so everyone there says that he has some sort of funny accent, and they don't really associate with the way he speaks. But now up here, it feels like he has a southern accent now, and so he feels like he's caught somewhere in the middle as the 1-0's swung on and missed, and he just wants to belong somewhere, somehow, to somebody in regards to his accent.
Yeah, kind of a Switzerland roll there for Raiselman. It's funny how those things work when players travel to different schools and spend time there. Of course, he went to San Francisco University his first 2 years. And then, yeah, right down playing for LSU now this season.
What does a San Francisco accent sound like?
I don't know, because I've never been out to California, and I haven't interacted with too many people who have. So I couldn't really tell you. I'd be a bad source. I'd be lying to you if I knew what to say. But everybody's got a little bit of something, especially when you're all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. Count is 2-2 now to Christian Moore, Tennessee Volunteer. And the pitch fouled off to the netting. He's going to jump down and draw out the bat boy. One away here in the Hyannis 4th. Moore on the day. He has an RBI on a sacrifice fly. Playing second base tonight. He's had a few putouts. Still searching for his first hit. Here comes the 2-2 delivery. Upstairs, and it loads it full. Pancho Ruiz due up on deck. Moore on the season, hitting .267. Still early on. But he's 4 for 15, excuse me. And this one is fouled off back behind us into the field. A lot of real estate that's wide open behind the ballpark here. Plenty of room to go run around if you're a kid.
Yeah, memories that will last a lifetime.
Raiselman crosses his front foot over his back, kicks and fires. This one is lifted softly into left field for a base hit. That will be the first since the second inning when Philip Matulia had a one-out single, but double play retired him. So Hyannis has got something going here with one away for Pancho Ruiz. Pancho lined out to Nick Goodwin to end the first inning. That was a shot. Nick Goodwin had to make a big-time play. Stranded a runner at third in Nolan Shanuel. So Harwich got bailed out a little bit there to stop the rally. That was a 7-batter inning for the Harbor Hawks. First pitch to him is fouled off into the netting, and it's 0-1. Beautiful night here in Hyannis. The shade came over the press area pretty quickly as we're right in front of the building. Now it's starting to creep onto the field. Sun still on the right side of the field, illuminating a bit of the infield and most of right field. This one grounded over to Goodwin. He'll flip on to second for one. Smith goes to first, but it can't be dug out by Vetrano. So it'll be a fielder's choice for Pancho Ruiz. David Smith just rushed the throw over to first. We'll see how they score it.
Yeah, he really tried to rifle that thing over.
So with 2 down now, it's going to be Dom Patelli, the shortstop. Flied out to center field in his first at-bat back in the second inning. He's hitting just 162. That is a lineup low for the Harbor Hawks. Chokes way up on that wood bat, and first pitch to him. Gets by Tatum Levens, takes a friendly bounce off the wall, but no one even holding him. Down to second with ease is Pancho Ruiz on the wild pitch.
If you're Harwich and Eric Razelman, ideally that runner, that stolen base should be inconsequential anyway, because you got 2 outs in the inning, and all you have to worry about here is the batter and Patelli.
And that one just misses outside to make it 2-0 now. Ruiz on second. The batter is Patelli. He goes right through that one. And now in the strike column is Razelman, 2-1.
See what he decides to go to here. He's got a change-up and slider also on offer.
He's still been relying on that fastball. And he blows it right by him. Low 90s on that one. He's thrown just 57 pitches in the ball game through 4 innings, all things considered. Not too bad, just under 15 an inning if he can get the batter right now within the next couple. Has fouled off 2 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, just the way he's been able to come back in, settle back down after what was a laborious first inning. It's been impressive to watch, and Razelman, he's been certainly dealing it better.
2-2. This is in the dirt. And so, Tim, a little trivia for you.
Sure.
He used to play at the University of San Francisco. That's Razelman.
Of course.
And their mascot is the San Francisco Dons. Do you know what a Don is? We'll get your answer right after this pitch. Take a minute, think about it. And the payoff. This is lined, but over to second base. David Smith comes away with it. So they're able to get the third out and strand the runner in Pancho Ruiz at second. We'll take a quick break and get you that answer when we return for inning number 5 on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. Call to the bullpen. It will be Jake Berry. He is 6'10", 250 pounds of man standing on the pitcher's mound from the University of Virginia. He has a 1-0 record, a 2.70 ERA across 2 games. This will be his 3rd appearance. He's gone 3 1/3 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 walk, and he struck out 1. It'll be 8-9-1 to face him first. Night is over for Alejandro Rosario.
Yeah, his day looked like this. Pitched 4 complete innings, gave up just 3 hits, didn't allow a run, walked 1, and struck out 5. Really impressive day from Rosario.
And big lefty's first pitch is chopped foul for a strike. Will Hamner, the designated hitter, he's grounded out to second already today. He'll be followed by David Smith and Press Kavanaugh. Mariners trail 2-0. 3 hits on the day. 2 off the bat of Joe Vitrano, and trying to get the 4th straight leadoff runner on base is right through it. Will Hamner down 0-2.
Yeah, 90 miles an hour on the first pitch, down to 83 on the second pitch. Berry showing a little bit so far of what he's got.
This one gets by the catcher Ruiz to make it 1-2.
That went in at 84.
So definitely got some velocity changes. Looks pretty intimidating out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, that ball's coming out pretty high out of the hand. A lot of downward momentum on the pitch.
1-2. Fouled off by Hamner. He spoils it and stays alive in there.
Fans, we can keep that foul ball courtesy of our friends at the NAC.
Yeah, great snack selection at the ballpark here. Good deals, nothing too overpriced. Chris Cassidy putting away some nachos right now. And what's that, a Reese's peanut butter bar he's got next? 1-2. Right in there. Strike 3 looking. Will Hamner goes down to start the 5th.
The second baseman from Yukon, number 4.
And not what you want to see if you're Harwich. Anytime a new pitcher comes into the game recently, that you feel like that can be your opportunity to jump on a guy who's maybe not going to have a night, but really it feels like everybody who's come into the ball game recently against the Mariners has just been able to deal, and Jake Berry sets the tone right away with a first strikeout.
Smith fouls off the first pitch, strike 1. And we asked you what a Don was, Tim, before the break. Did you ever come up with an answer, an educated guess, something?
A Don, I'm thinking something along the lines of I was going to say the mob, like the mafia, the Italian mafia.
We'll get to it as this one is grounded over to shortstop, fielded by Don Patelli. And the throw is just in time. Smith lost the helmet, 6-3 putout for out number 2. So here's the thing. Until 1931, San Francisco University's mascot was the Gray Frogs, but they decided to change it up. And so they went with the Dons, which is actually named for Don Francisco de Haro, city's first mayor. And it's kind of a Spanish settler look. He's got like the phantom mask over the eyes, a little bit of a cape in the hat. So basically a Spanish settler. It's a distinguished gentleman, as they describe it. Honorific designation that has sailed across the Atlantic to enjoy broad contemporary usage for personal, social, or official distinction in Latin American and Mexican American communities. So that is what a San Francisco Don is, which I guess has enough historical significance. Count 1 and 2 now to Press Kavanaugh.
Meanwhile, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, named the Hyannis Harbor Hawks because there was a Harbor Hawk at the field. Goes both ways.
Actually 1-1 the count, now 2-1 to Kavanaugh. He's 0 for 2 on the day. He's struck out twice. He's glad Rosario is out of the mound. Two-1 is fouled off himself. He's done that a few times today. That one caught him in the back of the calf. He'll walk it off, and we stay at 2-2.
Yeah, both of his at-bats, really lengthy at-bats earlier, Kavanaugh. I believe he got at least 8 pitches in each of his first 2 at-bats, and here he is, 2-2 count, trying to fight a few pitches off now.
Tommy Seidel waits on deck. He's eager to get back in there. Also has a pair of strikeouts. Sun setting to our left here at the ballpark. And the 2-2. Breaking ball off the end of the bat. Press Kavanaugh spoils it. 2-2. A few rival Hawks as Press Kavanaugh UNC Greensboro Seahawk. So a Harbor Hawk versus a Seahawk, if you will. And the pitch. Misses down low, loads up the count at 3-2.
Speaking of Hawks, there is a Hawk's nest right on the light pole on the far side of the Mariners dugout down the first base side.
It does appear that way.
There's a Hawk on there now taking in the ball game.
As that is chopped over to the shortstop. Patelli spins, throws, got him. 1, 2, 3 to start things here for Jake Berry. Comes in, picks up right where his starter left off in Rosario. And that will end the inning. Harwich nothing doing. They head back on defense in the bottom of the fifth. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Well, Eric Raiselman will head back out there for his fifth inning of work. He has thrown an even 60 pitches. Been pretty efficient. He was up in the mid-20s in the first inning, but since then has really dialed it in. He's going to have 9-1-2 due up for the Harbor Hawks. Philip Matulia has already singled off him, one of the 5 hits he's allowed thus far. That sunset really coming in nice in left field. I had to throw the sunglasses back on because the glare is right in the left side of my face.
And one of the interesting numbers here for Raiselman's outing so far, we talked about it, he's been efficient across his past few innings. 0 strikeouts.
Yes, definitely something to marvel about when you talk about how he had more than 1 in an inning in college. First pitch by Matulia, or to Matulia rather, is fouled off back to the brick wall. 0-1.
And as that one went off the backstop, actually came all the way back out to Raiselman. And oftentimes when something like that happens, you'll see a pitcher throw the ball to the dugout, get rid of it, find a new one. But actually looked it over and gave a thumbs up to the home plate umpire. Thought it looked good, and so he'll hold on to it.
Saw a lot of that last night in Bourne. They were just bouncing all the way back. As Matulia right through that one, 93 miles an hour, still fresh. And it's in there, 0-2.
And, you know, the backstop over in Bourne, that is all brick. And so that's going to scuff up the ball a little bit more here than the padding is in Hyannis. Or a little bit more there, I should say.
Oh, yes, they do have the padding behind the play. I didn't even notice that at the angle I was sitting at. Lean up, and I'm seeing that now. It's on the brick wall.
Makes it surprising that the ball bounces off that well off the padding.
It's very firm padding, like high school gym-esque, as that one makes it 1-2 up high.
Makes you wonder if the padding's really doing its job, if it's effectively going to act as a brick wall back there.
Definitely lessens the blow, and to some extent at least. Or else you got to think what's going on with the architects here. 1-2 coming from Raiselman. And there's that strikeout. First one comes against Philip Matulia of Louisiana Tech. He goes down, and we flip the lineup card over for the third time here with Mitch Jebb.
Yeah, Raiselman able to get that first strikeout, and as we said, he's already been working well, but you wonder how that'll affect him here as he's going to try to put more guys away with his stuff. He really is the kind of guy who wants to be able to take care of batters in his own right, and so maybe that'll get him going here.
Jebb hitting a touch under 300 this year, 297. And breaking ball misses to him. He's up 1-0. He's already singled tonight and scored. Also grounded out to the shortstop, Nick Goodwin. 1 for 2. First two runners that came up are due up, and they both scored. So Raiselman trying to retire them. That breaking ball just missed. Raiselman nods his head in disapproval, but he'll have to battle back. It's now 2-0. Long look in. And here comes the offering. Misses just below the strike zone, and it's 3-0. Scoreboard a touch behind. They have 2-0 up. So shout out to our producer, Emily Peters. She's on top of it. She's got our back. And the pitch, that makes it ball 4. He'll head down to first. Mitch Jebb on base for the second time here tonight with a 1-out walk. And Tim, you alluded to it, a guy who likes to run. Leads the ball club in stolen bases. As that'll send out Coach Englert. That might be the day.
Yeah, we'll have to see here as Englert's going to go out and have a talk with Raiselman. When you look at Raiselman on the season over at LSU, I mean, his longest outing back with the Tigers, you'd have to go all the way back to the 23rd of May against Gonzaga. Over a month ago, pitched 6 innings. So that was his longest outing inning-wise. His longest outing pitching-wise was against Cal State Fullerton back on the 1st of March back in 2020 through 95 pitches. That was back with University of San Francisco.
The Dons, as we learned, a little
As we have
historical.
learned.
Yeah, we are a very educational broadcast team here. You always learn something. Definitely some dinner table talk there. Ask your friends. Maybe they won't know what a Don is. As the batter now is Tito Flores. He's also 1 for 2 on there goes the runner. The throw down is in time. Tatum Levens takes out the trash. Mitch Jebb is thrown out at second. That's out number 2, helping out his pitcher.
Yeah, that's the 8th time that a Harbor Hawk's been caught stealing this season. Impressive throw from Levens. Put it right where he needed to. Made it exceptionally easy for that tag to be applied.
Beautiful throw against a very fast base runner. Had to be perfect, and it was. Tatum Levens adding to his defensive ball game is now up in the count is Tito Flores. It's 2-0. Hitters count. He's been a real pain, hitting .500 against Harwich on the season. And this is 3rd appearance against the Mariners. Michigan product, a Wolverine. He's now up 3-0. Raiselman has issued 7 straight balls. Trying to get his control back. Tatum Levens really helping him out there with that throw out. The way his control's been these past handful of pitches, as that one finally finds the zone to end the streak, and it's 3-1. Justin Hyannis awaits on deck. He's 0 for 2, flying out twice, once to left, once to center. Raiselman trying to get out of the inning. And the pitch, foul tipped. Makes it 3-2. Levens just misses it. Two-away here in the 5th.
And it'd be really huge if Harwich is able to get their guy in Raiselman to be able to go this this 5 complete innings here. Mariners this season, whenever their starter goes 5+, 4-1. Of course, down by 2 right now, but it really sets up this team defensively for when the bats do get going.
Here comes the payoff from the LSU Tiger. Upstairs, and it's back-to-back walks that he issues here with 2 outs. Coach Englert is going to make his way out, and we'll have a call to the bullpen. We'll take a quick break, bring you Raiselman's line and the new wing when we return. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Call to the bullpen. Raiselman's night is over. He goes 4 2/3, allows the 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned. That came in the first inning. Walks 3 and punches out 1 more. So 2 outs now, and Drew Conover will climb in. This will be his 5th game, tied for the ball club high with Joe Savino. He has not allowed an earned run yet this season, gone 6 1/3. Struck out 6, walked nobody, but allowed 3 hits. He has been arguably the best reliever and most reliable for the Mariners thus far, Tim.
Yeah, I really do like the decision to go to him here in a spot where you don't want to fall behind even further. Harwich, we've said this in a couple of broadcasts now, but it's a stat that still holds true thanks to last night's walk-off as
that pitch lined into left field for a base hit. Rounding second, headed into third. Here comes the throw. They got him. As you would say, Tim, by a country mile. Gunned down is Tito Flores. Crazy decision to send him, but Mariners will take it. That's another put out for Press Kavanaugh. And we'll take a break, go to the 6th inning. No harm done. And
Curry College is
We'll
where
be
you
right
go
back
because
on the Harwich
they
Mariners
belong.
YouTube network.
Curry. Leading off for the Mariners, the right
Devin
fielder from
Dobek,
Halifax,
Tim Foley
number 34.
bringing you the action here. We are into the 6th inning of action here. Mariners trail 2-0. It'll be 2-3-4. Heart of the order due up. Seeing if they can do something. It'll be Jake Berry back out there for the Harbor Hawks. He came in back in the 5th and was great. Had a strikeout, did not allow a hit. Set him down 1-2-3. Breaking ball is in there at 80 to start off Tommy Seidel, 0-1.
Yeah, looked really good in that first inning. He was really trying to utilize changing velocities to try to get guys, and so it was able to work out for him pretty well back in that first showing for him.
Seidel might have got a piece of that, but it's into the mitt. He's down 0-2. He struck out twice today, in jeopardy of going down a 3rd time. He's in the hole. Nick Goodwin on deck, followed by Joe Vitrano. Just the guys you want up to start a rally. Oh, 2. Fouled off and over the press box onto the grass.
Fans, you can keep that foul ball,
Seidel
courtesy of
spoils
our
the
friends at
2-strike pitch and stays alive.
All 3 pitches have been right about 80 miles an hour, so Seidel, he's got the timing on it here. It's just a matter of being able to actually barrel it up. Right now, Barry able to find his spots just right, and you wonder now after three straight 80-mile-an-hour pitches what he'll do on the 0-2.
Here it is. Just inside. Close pitch. Nice take by Seidel. It's 1-2.
Yeah, and he turned it up on that one just a hair, 87 miles an hour on that last pitch. Trying to get him with the fastball, looking. Figured Seidel wouldn't be able to swing at something faster than what he's seen all at bat.
1-2. This is flipped into right field, giving chase, but foul is the first baseman in Justin Hyannis. So Seidel sounded like his bat broke, and it did. He'll have to get a new piece of lumber. Putting together a nice at-bat. He's seen, now this will be the 6th pitch of the at-bat coming up.
And it was Seidel, too, along with Kavanaugh, who's put together some nice at-bats here. Of course, still looking to get on for the first time, but he's a guy who knows how to spoil off a couple of pitches, stay combative, and always have a chance in an at-bat, even when going down early 0-2.
Seidel hitting .275 as we stand currently. That's the highest average among eligible batters. And he fouls it, or excuse me, it's popped into shallow right field. Hyannis under it, and that's out number 1.
A long at-bat that finally got underneath one, and Just left it up there. Easy catch that was able to be made.
So 1 down for Nick Goodwin. On the day, he is 0 for 2. Struck out looking back in the first and then lined out to left field. Nice play by Tito Flores. That was back in the third. He's trying to get on here for the Mariners. They really had nothing doing on offense. Had a few runners in scoring position, but no luck moving them over. First pitch is bounced in the dirt, 1-0. Nick Goodwin, Kansas State Wildcat. As the next pitch is upstairs. Had ties with Coach Englert, who coached there for a little bit, and that's how he found his way to Harwich after playing for Bourne last year. Didn't love it, just didn't fit well. And so Coach Englert takes him under his wing, and now he's hitting in the 3 spot in his lineup as he lifts this one out to deep right field. Going back is Matulia, and it is caught for out number 2. Nice play down there, right in front of the pole. A lot of ground to cover for Matulia, but he comes away with it. It's allowed out number 2.
And that now makes the top third of this Mariners lineup 0 for 9 across their first 3 at-bats each. It's been a pattern recently. The top of the lineup has just struggled to produce. I mean, yesterday, of course, that big 5th inning, but other than that, the Mariners lineup was just 1 for 11, other than the 5th inning.
It's been a lot of inconsistency. They're hot one day, and then the next day they're ice cold. Seems to be an ice cold day thus far, but still plenty of baseball left. We got 10 outs for the Mariners as Vetrano quickly in the hole, 0-2. Vetrano has been one of the positives in the ball game. Mariners have 3 hits. He's got 2 of them, a single and a double. Joe in the left-hand side. Seems to be pretty comfortable in the box. And the offering. He grounds it up the middle. That's going to get through. A 3-hit game for Joe Vetrano. Just the second Mariner to do so on the season, along with Tommy Seidel. He's 3 for 3. His average has skyrocketed in the ballgame. He came in at 195, and once the number updates, it's up to 245 now. So he's brought his average up 50 points thus far and counting.
Yeah, Joe Vetrano's just doing really impressive stuff here tonight. It's a shame that nobody's been able to set the table for him, get on base, and give him an opportunity, because if he's been able to come up the bat with runners on, which he hasn't once this game, then it could be a different story right now.
No, you put it perfectly. You just said it a little while ago, but they've gone down in order, the top 3 in the Mariners batting order. Vetrano's had nothing to work with, and he's not the best base runner. So as Lavari lifts this one out to deep right field, Matulia going back, and he's got it. A nice play. So it's 2 loud flyouts to Matulia in right. Lavari slides to 0-3 on the day, and that will end the top half of the 6th. We go to the home half. Mariners back out to the hill. We'll take a quick break on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Designated hitter from Florida Atlantic, number 12, Nolan Shaniel.
So it'll be 4-5-6 for the Harbor Hawks, looking for some insurance here as the game dwindles down into the later innings. Drew Conover back out there, had a little help from Press Kavanaugh, who threw out Tito Flores at third base to end inning number 5. Would have been second and third with 2 away, and the same batter coming up. This one's going to find Press Kavanaugh right again. 1 pitch, 1 out for Drew Conover. He is very efficient, and
The center fielder from Louisiana Tech.
1 down now for Cole McConnell.
Yeah, and you know, that's what you need if you're Harwich. Just have your bullpen come in, be strong. It really has been a strong point for the Mariners this season. Been a few blips here and there, but by and large, the bullpen's done its job. It's just been the run support that hasn't always been there for the Mariners.
McConnell on the day has singled and flied out to center. He watches strike 1. He's been coined by his coach as the best center fielder he's ever seen. It's like there's a magnet in his glove. He covers so much ground so quick. Really good on the defensive side of things, and he's been hitting really well on the season, batting .311, so really doing it on both sides. He's headed for Wareham for the All-Star game, at least one of the front runners at the moment. Count is 1-1. Conover kicks and delivers. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. 1-2.
Don't believe, well, obviously they've not announced the All-Stars yet, but All-Star game coming up. Not really. It's still
It's a good ways away.
Later July. I think I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here.
So
over 3 weeks away.
Misses outside 2-2, but the numbers he's been putting up, you gotta expect we might see his name on the roster. That pitch from Conover at 97 miles per hour. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. And the delivery is bounced in the dirt, swung on and missed. Levens gathers and fires on to first. That's out number 2.
Yeah, that's a really nice pitch from Drew Conover. That thing just died at the plate. Really impressive. Gets him to hack away at it. Can't find any of it. And Levens makes the easy throw down to first for the second out.
2 away. Bugs are starting to join us on the broadcast. In my nose, in my mouth. All these gnats everywhere. Christian Moore, he's 1 for 1 on the day. He hit a sac fly to drive in one of the 2 runs in the ball game, and he's also singled. First pitch to him misses down, or it's in there for a strike. Close pitch. Conover gets the call. 0-1 now to the Tennessee Volunteer. Breaking ball snaps in there, strike 2. 83 miles per hour on that slider from Conover.
And then as the batter and Moore, what are you supposed to do here when you know he can get up to 97? He just gave you 83. Really keeps you on your toes as a batter.
Rutgers Scarlet Knight trying to set him down in order. This one is bounced in the dirt. Levin stops it. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Pancho Ruiz on deck. 1-2 count to the Hyannis second baseman. Here's the offering. Swung on and missed. Made him look foolish. Drew Conover, a beautiful breaking ball, back-to-back strikeouts. He's got 2 of them now, and that ends the 6th inning. So we head to the final third. We'll take a quick break and be back on the other side of the break on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. We're into the 7th. It'll be Chris Newell, Tatum Levens, and Will Hamner due up. And the rest of the way to take you there is Tim Foley. Tim.
Thanks so much, Devin. Chris Newell is up to bat. 1 for 2 on the evening. Singled back in the 2nd inning and flew out to left field back in the 4th. The man who's back on the mound for his 3rd inning of work, it's Jake Berry. The big lefty kicks, delivers, and misses low and outside at 81 miles an hour. And the count opens at 1-0. Berry so far, he's faced 7 batters across his 2 complete innings pitched. He's given up just 1 hit. Here's the pitch. This one's hit on the ground right side. 2 hops to the charging Moore. Flip on to first for Hyannis, and there's 1 away in the top of the 7th inning.
It's actually going to be a defensive change for Hyannis. Riku Nishida at second base from Japan. 5'6", but man, is he solid defensively. Out number 1, he records it. Enters the game, ball finds him.
And so now Tatum Levens up to bat. And a good catch, Devin, announced by the PA after the fact. Levens on the night, 0 for 2, grounded out to first in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning, and then to second in his 2nd at-bat in the 4th inning. It's an 0-1 count to him here as he fouls off the first pitch he sees. So Levens, he'll dig back in, behind the count. Berry steps back up onto the bump, rocks and delivers. That's going to miss high, and the count is now 1-1. Will Hamner stands on deck for the Mariners. Hamner also 0 for 2 tonight. As Berry stares in, likes the sign, and delivers. Off-speed pitch coming in at 73 miles an hour. And it misses just low, and it's 2-1 now. Impressive he's able to drop it like that. He's gotten up to 90. 87 on that fastball as that misses down low, and now Berry behind the count here, 3-1.
Yeah, Levens got to find a way to get on. Hasn't happened much, but Mariners will take it. No better time than the present.
Here's the 3-1. That'll be spoiled off, and the count is now 3-2 here to Levens. Still a great crowd on hand here at McKeon Park. 2-0 lead for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. A Hyannis team that has already matched their win total from 2021. Just 16 games into 2022. Down goes Levens, swing and a miss on the 83-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. And there's 2 away now here in the top of the 7th inning.
Tough pitch there. Definitely would have been ball 4. I think that's got to be the most frustrating thing if you're Levens. He seems visibly upset as he heads back to the dugout. He's 0 for 3 on the day. It's been a slow go of it for him this year. As you mentioned, Tim had such a great year in 2021, his all-star campaign, but just struggling to replicate that here in 2022.
As the first pitch into Hamner is in for a strike. It's 0-1 now. Take a quick look around the Cape Cod Baseball League. Ware, Ham, and Katuitt currently knotted up at 5-5. That game in the top of the 7th at Lowell Park. The 0-1 pitch misses down low. It's now 1-1. Orleans is up 6-4 over Brewster. That's in the bottom of the 8th inning over at Stony Brook Field. Harwich, of course, trailing Hyannis here. And then you have YD ahead of Chatham. 2-0 in the top of the 3rd inning at Veterans Field as that one's fought off. And it's now 1-2 here to the batter in Hamner. And then the top of the 4th inning over at Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. 0-0 between the Bourne Braves and the Falmouth Commodores. Hyannis and their pitcher in Berry. They're able to get Hamner to swing and miss at the 1-2 pitch. Down goes Hamner. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Jake Berry. He's up to 3 on the evening. And so Hyannis are now 6 outs away from trying to lock this one up. We'll be back with more Harwich Mariners baseball in a minute. In the meantime, you're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back into McKeon Park. Tim Foley, Devin Dobick along with you. As leading off the bottom of the 7th inning for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, it's Pancho Ruiz, the catcher for Hyannis here tonight. Ruiz, he is currently 0 for 2, lined out to short, reached on a fielder's choice. As that one's going to come in and miss at 82 miles an hour from Drew Conover, who's back out for his second full inning of work. He's gone through an inning and a third to this point. He's given up just a hit, on which the Mariners were able to retire Tito Flores. And so he's faced the minimum, as the next pitch also misses for a ball. It's now 2-0.
Bottom 3 in the order due up. A lot of low averages, 167, 158, and 185. Got to go 1, 2, 3 here. Don't want to dip into the top of that order with runners on.
And that's going to get him. Pitch ran in on Ruiz. He'll take a base. So for Ruiz, second time he has gotten on here today. And this will bring up Dominic Patelli.
Conover, I think, thought it caught the butt end of the bat, but nonetheless, umpire disagrees with him. You're going to lose that argument 11 times out of 10.
Yeah, we have a pretty good vantage point right here. I'd say we're about 25, 30 feet from home plate, almost right behind it. A little offset to the right. And before it was even ruled by the umpire, I could tell that one really did run in on him. Looked like it caught him on the elbow. First pitch is going to miss. 94 miles an hour, a ball that misses down low to Patelli. And Conover struggling here in this 7th inning. Hits the first batter he faces after he was down in the count to him. And now immediately down 1-0. Next pitch is going to be fought off, foul. And so the count evens out at 1-1.
Got to find a way to get out of it. I mentioned it just before. You do not want to dip into the Mitch Jebbs and Tito Flores of the lineup. They are guys who will make you pay for mistakes. So get the outs now.
Next pitch is going to be in for a called strike. It's 1-2. And you're certain to face this top of the lineup for Hyannis at least one more time. But to your point, you don't want to see them come up to bat with anybody on. As Conover stands in and delivers. That one's going to miss, gets out of the glove of Levens, and everybody's going to hold up. Pancho Ruiz did not opt to head down to second base. He holds, and so Levens lost that one. It's not as though
it's got to be the bugs. That's my hypothesis. It's bug in the eye or something.
Yeah, it's not as though he lost it in the dirt. It was a routine high fastball that he was ready to pull in, but it just popped out of his mitt. He lost track of it. There are plenty of bugs around. We'll have to see just how big of a factor the bugs are for the players, perhaps, at some point. As the next pitch is in, that's going to miss. And the count runs full here, 3-2. That one in at 93 miles an hour.
Coach Engler a little frustrated with that call over there. Umpire's going to give some words back to the dugout.
Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So that is the third strikeout for Drew Conover.
And a big one at that. Definitely was ball 4, but he got Patelli to chase. I guess you make up for the strike 3 call. We've seen that happen a couple times here tonight. Close pitch gets called a ball, and then runner is retired on the very next.
This brings up the 9-hitter, Philip Matulia. Matulia on the night, he is 1 for 2. Singled back in the second, and then he was the 1 strikeout victim to Eric Raiselman. And again, just sort of an oddity. Raiselman just the 1 strikeout across 4 2/3 innings pitched. Did not have all of his stuff here tonight. Did give up 5 hits, 3 walks as well. He's a guy who's looking to get drafted. Certainly going to look to bounce back next Thursday in his next start, as that one's going to be in for a called strike. It's now 2-2 here to Matulia.
Matulia's been great in the outfield. Caught a lot of balls hitting the corner and deep right field. He's done his part on that side of the ball, and he's got a base hit here.
He's going to look to continue to produce. Man on first is Pancho Ruiz. Conover comes set as the Highline Ferry is back into the harbor. Down goes Philip Matulia. Swings and misses. And he goes down on 3 pitches. So this brings up the top of the order in Mitchell Jebb. So far, Jebb on the night, he is 1 for 2. Single, came all the way around in the first, grounded out to short in the second, and then got on with a walk in the 5th inning before he was caught stealing.
So here you go. You got a chance to get one of the very hot hitters in the lineup out in Mitch Jebb. Makes your life a little bit easier in the innings to come as Ruiz going to advance second on this pass ball.
And so that is going to be an extra 90 feet, as mentioned, for Ruiz. And now Hyannis with a man in scoring position. Harbor Hawks here tonight. They've left a couple on, 4 to this point in the ball game. That's to the Mariners' 5. As Jebb will step back in once again. Conover stares back at second base, takes a look at Pancho Ruiz. The pitch, that's going to miss. And so the count here, 2-0.
Dig deep if you're Conover. Very good hitter up, runner in scoring position. You got to keep this lead as small as possible. Keep it at 2, give your offense a chance with 6 outs.
Conover stares back at second and delivers. This one hit on the ground, a couple of hops over to Nick Goodwin. Throw on to first in time. That ends the inning. Nick Goodwin relay on to first base, and the Mariners are able to leave one stranded over on second. We head to the top of the 8th inning. Mariners up to bat. When we return, it will be David Smith, Press Kavanaugh, and Tommy Seidel. In the meantime, don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back inside McKeon Park. Tim Foley, Devin Dobick along with you. The top of the 8th inning coming up. It's David Smith, who's set to face off against Jake Berry for the second time now. Grounded out to short in his last at-bat against Berry. Also got on with a walk against Alejandro Rosario. He was the one man who was walked by Rosario across his 4 innings pitched. It's an 0-1 count to him here as the first pitch is in for a called strike to David Smith. Jake Berry, this is his now 4th inning of work as Smith gets underneath this one, sends it out of play foul, and the count advances to 0-2. Smith is back against the wall. Berry, his opportunity to strike out 3 straight, including 4 on the evening. Coming up here, 0-2 the count. Berry rocks and delivers. That one skips in the dirt. That one was Thrown at a sharp angle when you consider how high the release point is for 6'10" Jake Berry to be able to spike a ball in the dirt like that. Really sent that thing down. It's the 1-2 count. Rocks and delivers. That's going to miss. And the count now 2-2. Hopped out of the glove of Ruiz on the way in.
Just 4 hits for Harwich, 3 of them from Joe Vitrano. The other pieces of the offense really got to get moving here. Time is running out.
Smith chops this one foul down the third base line, and that's going to stay foul. It's 2-2. But yeah, you mentioned it. Joe Vitrano is really the only guy who's looked good here tonight for the Mariners at the dish. 3 for 3. That's a season high for him in hits. Meanwhile, you have several other Mariners. By my count, 6 other Mariners who are 0 for 3. 5 of which have strikeouts. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Off speed, Smith early on it. Hooked it foul. 72 miles an hour. That one came in at. Really floated in there. And it's 2-2. Still.
Staying alive, that's all you got to do. Make him work. Barry getting deep into his outing. He's thrown 3 complete innings. Make him continue to pitch. Labor him.
Here's the 2-2. That's going to be pushed back up the middle. Caught. Rikun Ashita strides over from second base and is able to plug the gap. He's able to make the catch and record the out, and down goes Smith to lead off the inning. And there is one away here in the top of the 8th.
He's remarkable to watch. So fast on defense. Ranges all the way over to his right, and a beautiful leaping grab. For a big out, number 1, you do not want to have the leadoff runner on if you're Hyannis. Playing with fire, not the time to do it.
As the first offering to Press Kavanaugh, who steps back in now for the Mariners, misses up high, and the count opens at 1-0. Kavanaugh here tonight 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a ground out to short. Berry nods, kicks, and delivers. This one's going to be hit out toward left field, right at Tito Flores. He makes the catch, and there's now 2 away.
The right fielder from Alabama, Tuscaloosa, number
Just
34,
under that one, we've seen a lot of opposite field flyouts between Lavari and Kavanaugh, and the rest of the bunch. Goodwin's got one, although a pull for him, and just not finding the gaps. Hitting it right at the defense, and all you can do is shake your head and head back to the dugout.
As Seidel steps in now, Seidel on the night, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a fly out to first in his most recent at-bat back in the 6th inning. It's a 1-0 count to him here as the first pitch misses up high. Berry stares in, shakes off a sign, nods on the next one, and delivers. That's going to miss down low, and the count now here 2-0 to Tommy Seidel. Seidel trying to be the first Mariner to get on base since Joe Vitrano was able to record his 3rd hit of the game back in the 6th inning, and here we are, 2 outs into the 8th. Mariners down to their final 4 outs. Here's the 2-0. That's going to be popped up by Seidel. Nishida waved off, and it'll be caught by Patelli. And that ends the inning. Mariners still down 2-0. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Hyannis trying to add on a few before wrapping this one up in the 9th. We'll be back with more on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to McKeon Park. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you. The bottom of the 8th inning. Hyannis Harbor Hawks are in the driver's seat right now. Leading off the bottom of the 8th inning, it's Tito Flores. Flores, the left fielder here tonight for the Harbor Hawks. He is 1 for 2. Singled back in the first, flew out to center in the third, and then got on with a walk back in the 5th inning. There's a new pitcher on the mound for the Harwich Mariners. It's Teddy Sharkey. His first pitch is going to be hit left side. A couple of hops over to Nick Goodwin, who makes a throw on the run to Vetrano, who's able to pick it out in time to record the first out on the first pitch. 1 down.
Nice play by Joey V over there at first to dig it out. Nick Goodwin with a beautiful cross-body throw, but it came up short. Joe Vetrano there to sweep up the mess. Important out number 1.
And so now Justin Hyannis comes up to bat. Hyannis on the evening, 1 for 3, singled back in the 5th inning. Flew out to the outfield in each of his previous 2 at-bats, and he'll take a first pitch strike from Teddy Sharkey. Sharkey so far on the season for the Mariners boasts an ERA of 0. Last came in the second game of the doubleheader against Wareham. That was his 1 appearance of the season. Pitched an inning and 2/3, did not strike anybody out, did not walk anybody, did not allow anybody to get a hit. It was a sort of do-nothing appearance, but you know what they say, no news is good news. So it was a quiet appearance for him last time around. He's already got 1 down here, and he's ahead in the count 0-2 to Justin Hyannis, who fouls off the 0-1 and has his back against the wall now here. Sharkey out of Coastal Carolina. Threw 21 pitches in that last outing for Harwich. Faced just 5 batters. Retired everybody he saw. As that one's going to miss outside for a ball. It's 1-2. 93 miles an hour on that one. He's able to really whip it.
Yeah, just 6'0", but 202 pounds stocky, and he uses all of that figure, get behind the ball, launching it.
Great rotational power. That's usually what's able to help these smaller guys get that ball in there. The ability to really just whip that arm around, as that one's going to be popped up, foul out of play. And we'll do it again at 1-2. And an interesting little exchange along the side there. Philip Matulia for Hyannis, who plays out of Louisiana Tech, had actually given Kenny Lavari somewhat of a hug as Lavari was heading over to the warning track. I guess was acting as a buffer for Lavari in a joking manner. Lavari at no risk of actually hitting the wall. This one's going to be hit out to left. Press Kavanaugh striding over from left field is able to make the grab as that one was coming down quick. But Press Kavanaugh quicker makes the grab, and there's now 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, you really got to be on your toes there when that ball's coming to left. It's tailing and also dropping fast, but up to the task is Press Kavanaugh. He's really been an anchor, found a home out there in the left field.
And so now up to bat, Nolan Shanuel. 0 for 2 on the day, walked in his first plate appearance back in the first inning. That was to help load the bases for then Cole McConnell to help drive in a run. But then thereafter, grounded out to third and flew out to left. Count is 0-1 to him here. Took a first pitch strike, and now Sharkey stares in, kicks and delivers. This is spoiled off in the count 0-2. Teddy Sharkey, like a shark, going after guys right now. He is the apex predator on the mound right now.
Yeah, he's doing well. Just keep pounding the zone. Hopefully he has to come out there for the 9th inning too. He needs his offense to wake up.
Sharkey comes set, stares in. Shanuel awaits. Here's the pitch. That's going to be belted out toward right center field. Seidel's going back for it at the fence, makes the leap, makes the catch. That ends the inning. 1, 2, 3, down go the Harbor Hawks. Some contact, but nonetheless, Sharkey able to deal with them in order. We head now to the top of the 9th inning. Do or die time for the Mariners. They need 2 runs to extend this game to at least the bottom of the 9th, and we will see what they're able to do when we return. We'll be back in a minute. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. We bring you back inside McKeon Park here in downtown Hyannis. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you as Harwich is down to their final 3 outs. It will be Nick Goodwin to lead it off for the Mariners. Joe Vitrano and Kenny Lavari also due up in this inning. Kenny Lavari's on base streak currently sitting at 12 games. That is at risk. He has not reached base at all here tonight. We'll see what he's able to do when he finally comes up to bat. But in the meantime, it's Nick Goodwin who leads us off. 0 for 3 is Goodwin. Struck out looking to end the first inning, lined out to left to end the third inning, and then was the second out of the 6th inning on a fly out to right field. Here's the first pitch from the new arm, Ty Langenberg. The second time the Mariners have seen Langenberg on the season. Goodwin swings and misses, and it's 0-1 here quickly. Langenberg on the season for the Harbor Hawks out of Iowa. This is his 4th appearance. He has a total of 2 saves already on the season. Leads the ball club in that category. Across his 6 2/3 innings pitched, he's allowed just 3 hits, walked just 1, and he's struck out 14. So this guy has been effective in neutralizing hitters. As Goodwin checks, did he go? And Big Joe Vitrano's blocking me. He did go around, so says the first base umpire. And the count is now 1-2. Ty Langenberg, this is the second time the Mariners have seen him. In fact, one of the saves he picked up on the season was, as that's going to be a strikeout for Nick Goodwin. Down he goes, and that is now 1 gone here in the top of the 9th inning.
Joe Vitrano.
Yeah, just behind it that time. Goodwin's tough night. One of his off nights. Strikes out for the second time. Mariners down to their final 2 outs. They need 2 runs to try and get a point or more.
And as I was mentioning, Langenberg, one of the 2 saves he recorded on the season was in that 4-3 victory for Hyannis in his last appearance. Pitched 2 2/3, struck out 3, didn't allow a hit or a walk or a run. So it's Joe Vitrano who's up to bat. First pitch to him is going to miss, and the count opens up at 1-0. Vitrano, what a night he's had. 3 for 3, a single back in the 2nd, a double in the 4th, and then another single in the 6th. And now here in the 9th inning, again with nobody on, has not been able to be set up once here tonight. As everybody ahead of him in the order, a collective 0 for 12 on the evening were Press Kavanaugh, Tommy Seidel, and Nick Goodwin. Not one of them reaching once. Joe Vitrano, a 1-hopper into Riku Nishita's glove. He'll flip it on to first, and there's 2 gone now in the top of the 9th.
He's been a tough out. They finally get him here when they need it the most. Harwich really down on the ropes now, 2 away. Kenny Lavari can extend the game and is on base streak with something here. I believe a 7-game hit streak as well for him.
Yes. So plenty on the line. Of course, the game as well here for the Mariners, down to their final out. They've only been shut out twice this season, or I suppose I should say they already have been shut out twice this season, as both instances were against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. It was an 11-0 victory for Hyannis, or pardon for the Whitey Red Sox. As this one's hit on the ground, right side, Riku Nishita scoops it up, no problem, throw on to first, and that's the ball game. The Harwich Mariners are shut out for the 3rd time this season, thanks to 2 runs that the Harbor Hawks scored in the bottom of the 1st inning. We'll be back to wrap this one up in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back inside McKeon Park. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick back with you to break this one down. A 2-0 loss for the Harwich Mariners. This, again, the third time this season in which they've been shut out. Twice it's been to the YD Red Sox, and now once here to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks as the Mariners fall to 6-11 on the season. Hyannis, their record improves. They are now 9-5-3. They are up to 21 points on the campaign. Meanwhile, Harwich, they are stagnant at 12. They've been stuck there for now 4 games. A 4-game losing streak for the Mariners, their longest of the season, with the loss here tonight, Devin.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the ball game. It seems like either the offense or the defense has showed up, and tonight it was the defense. You take away that first inning, no runs are on the board. Raiselman really settled in. The pitching was great. They allowed just 6 hits the entire ball game. You got 2 great relief appearances from Conover and Sharkey. The offense wasn't there. Everybody was asleep except Joe Vitrano. Credit to him, had a 3-hit game, and a guy who desperately needed it. Definitely can't be overlooked. He had a great ball game, a nice defense at first, had a couple picks. I mean, nothing you can complain about from him, but if you're Harwich, these past few have really hurt because they've been so in reach and you've just been unable to finish the job, Tim.
Yeah, they really have been, and the big number, the big stat that we keep on pointing out is that Harwich has failed to win a game this season in which they've been able to failed to win a game this season in which their opponent has scored 3 or more. Harwich sort of met that criteria. They held their opponent to just 2 runs, but even still were not able to put together enough offense to be able to pull it out. So Hyannis, they stay hot. They're now on an 8-game unbeaten streak as the Mariners, they fall to, again, 4 straight losses and are now 6-11 on the campaign. Well, Mariners are going to be back in action tomorrow. That's going to be at home against the Cotuit Kettleers. A 6:30 first pitch against Cotuit. Meanwhile, Hyannis, they will go on the road over to Spillane Field. A 6 o'clock first pitch tomorrow as we welcome in the month of July. Mariners will look to kiss the month of June goodbye. Certainly not going to miss it. So that'll do it for us here tonight. For my broadcast partner, Devin Dobick, I'm Tim Foley. The final score for the final time here from McKeon Park. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks 2, the Harwich Mariners 0. Thanks so much for listening to tonight's broadcast, and we'll catch you tomorrow.